There's an old saying, be careful what you wish for, you just may get it. When dealing with Copart, the saying should be careful what you bid on, you just might win it. Hey there viewers, welcome back to the Ed the Impala Guy channel, or is it? We're coming to you from Ohio, just outside of Sandusky, the great home of the amusement park Cedar Point. We're at a service area and we're winging our way back from the Copart facility in the Cleveland East area, which is in Northfield, Ohio. We bid on something and we won it, which kind of goes back to the old saying, be careful what you bid on because you just might win it. Or is that be careful what you wish for, you just might get it? Either one is appropriate in this case. I bid on a vehicle at $450 for my max bid, and I thought there's no way I'll get this vehicle because it's going to go for about $1,700. And lo and behold, I won it. So that was last Wednesday, and I believe that was the 6th. And here we are, Tuesday the 12th, and we're winging our way down there to pick it up. So without further ado, there it is. Yes, it's not an Impala. It's a 2009 Saturn Outlook, XR edition, front wheel drive, and it's listed as front end damage, and it's a run and drive. Now, I've spent the last couple days wondering what was wrong with this. I could obviously see on the pictures that this wheel was tilted in, so I was imagining all kinds of suspension damage. But I really couldn't see anything other than maybe this dent in this bumper here. Well, when I got here, I noticed there's the dent in the bumper, there's the suspension damage, but there's also some scrapes along the side here, scrapes on the rear quarter here, and then the piece de resistance, the tailgate is dented right there, which I don't know that actually happened in this accident or not, but I guess they were going with it. Anyhow, what was weird about this vehicle was the fact that it said that there was $5,600 worth of damage to this. I Googled the VIN number of the car, and it had actually been in the auction 2 weeks prior, and then re-entered into the auction on the 11th of November, and that's when I won it. So something obviously happened to it, or the car, or the bidder of the first auction on the 23rd of October either never came and picked up the car or refused the car, but that left me wondering what's wrong with it, and what am I getting stuck with. Well, when I got down here today, I looked at it, and the only thing I can find suspension wise that's wrong with it is the strut is bent. That's the only thing that's causing that wheel to tilt in, as far as I can tell. Other than that, we've got a little bit of the body damage, and I can see that adding up altogether to $6,500, or I'm sorry, $5,600, especially with the way the insurance companies work their estimates and what they're responsible for making the car back totally normal. So anyhow, I just want to kind of give you an intro here. This is coming home with us to Michigan, where we had 13 inches of snow last night. So the next challenge after we get through driving down the road at 50 miles an hour is to actually get it off this trailer and into my driveway, which is covered with snow that I was unable to plow last night because my snow plow is in front of 2 of the Impala parts cars parked in the barn. So I kind of screwed myself there. We didn't think we were going to get this much snow, and we ended up getting a bunch, and now I'm kind of screwed. My driveway is unplowed. I've run tracks up and down it, and it's going to be a challenge getting this thing parked in the driveway. So hang in there. We'll update you when we get home and we get this thing off the trailer. Hey viewers, welcome back. We're home, and there it is. She's in the driveway, and yeah, it's cold, and it was a total pain in the ass getting it off the trailer. It ended up being out of gas. The battery was dead. But you know what? Once I went and got some gas, and we got about 5 gallons of gas in it, and charged the battery up while I was going to get gas, it backed right off the trailer once I remembered the tie-down chains instead of just the straps. Once I got the chains off and everything off, it backed off the trailer and actually pulled into this spot here. It was actually over there behind, well, like actually it was kind of like right behind where the
Iris was, the blue car was parked. And it pulled up here just fine. We can see that, you know, the tire is kind of cockeyed a little bit, so we're gonna have to look into that. But basically, that's gonna be it for tonight. We'll pick this up in the daylight, and we can go over the car thoroughly. So far, all I gotta say is I think we scored. I think we did. The engine purrs like a kitten. Very smooth, goes into gear. It is definitely a run and drive car. We just got to figure out the suspension thing and figure out what we're gonna do with the bodywork. The inside's kind of beat. You can tell this was like somebody's work car. The armrest, the switches on the driver's door where the armrest is the switch panel's all busted up. We'll get one of those from a junkyard or something. We'll find one somewhere. But anyhow, I think we scored. Other than that, it's got every freaking option on it. It's really well optioned. So anyhow, I'm gonna let you guys go for the night, and it's been a really long day. It's about 9:44. I've been at it since about 5:30 this morning and on the road. So hang in there, and we'll continue on with the reveal on this car in the daylight. See you in the morning. Hey folks, it's a couple days later, and we finally got some daylight to work with here. Lately it's been dark when I got home from work, so I really couldn't update you. So we've had a little bit of a chance to look at the old Saturn here, and the question remains, did we win, or is this thing a turd? Well, let's do a little bit of walk around. Now that we've got the snow off of it, you can see, looking at the front, you can see a little bit of wrinkling in the chrome on the grill. That's a fairly common problem with these, from what I'm told. As far as the collision goes, see we've got a dent in the bumper here. That could probably be fixed with a heat gun and a little bit of pressure outward. This is where the actual accident took place. It looks like the front wheel got hit. So I've looked under here, and I really couldn't see much of anything. I'm assuming the ball joint is broken. That would explain the tire tilt. Everything else looks like it's attached and still working. More body damage right here. The driver's door looks good. Oh, I'm about ready to fall on the snow and the ice. There's another dent in the passenger door right along here. And probably what ended up totaling this vehicle was this little scrape right there. And there's a little bit of a dent right there. You got to remember, when insurance companies evaluate these vehicles, they have to make the vehicle like it was off the assembly line, which means for this door, they would either replace the door or reskin it. For the fender, they would replace the fender. But for this quarter panel, you and I, what we would do is pull the dent out a little bit with a unispotter and use some body filler, and it would be good. For the insurance company, that's a whole panel replacement. They would literally replace this whole thing. It's called a unicide, and that right there totaled this vehicle. The other thing that I think contributed to it, if they didn't take that into consideration, is I found this dent back here in the tailgate. And then, you're talking you replacing the whole tailgate and the labor involved in that. You can see the tilt in the front wheel from this angle really well. I don't think that totaled the vehicle, but I think it was either the quarter panel here or the tailgate is what put this at its $5,600 estimation to be repaired. So other than that, the rest of the car looks really good. Especially for a 2009, crawling around underneath, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of rust. Especially for an Ohio vehicle, I was kind of surprised. Interior wise is a little dirty. We'll take a tour here. First thing I noticed was, it's grimy. Somebody didn't wash their hands. The second thing I noticed is this little plastic thing here is broken. We'll probably end up repairing that. But looking inside, it's dirty. It can be clean though. The carpeting is actually not too bad. This is 3-row seating. This is the XR edition, so it's very well optioned. You can see here we've got the standard GM radio, but this one has the DVD player in it. It's got the automatic climate control front and rear. And then here on the switch panel, we have the heated seats. We have the rear windshield washer and wiper. The next button over, where is it? There. That's the traction control button. Then we have the tow haul button. And then there's the lift gate. So it's got a power lift gate. Also got 2 extra dimes with it. So yay. Looking back, we got some extra car parts. Yeah, that doesn't belong to this vehicle. That's a piece of a silver bumper and a fender liner. But we've got the 2 sunroofs. This sunroof here actually operates. This one here operates. The other one is fixed. It's got the automatic lift gate. And like I said, it's really well optioned. Now, the bad part. I'm going to fire it up. And I'm going to show you. Hopefully it'll fire up. Let's see. Turn it around here. There we are. Hold on. All right. So what do we got here? Ice possible, drive with care. All right. You see the TPMS light is flashing. That's no big deal. I'm sure I've got some dead batteries. And the tire pressure is all wonky. But what really is troublesome is that right there. So I pulled my code reader out, and I got 7 codes in this thing, and they're not good ones. The first one is a P0100, which is a mass airflow sensor. So it's either not working or it's not hooked up. I haven't really got under the hood to look. That's not a big deal. They run about $64 for one on Amazon. The big codes were the P0017 and 0018 and the P0800. Or 0008, not 0800, 0008, 0017, and 0018, which all have to do with the variable valve timing and the timing chains. Doing a little bit of research on the web, and these 3.6 liters are notorious for stretched timing chains, and then you get all the P0017, P0018, P0016 and P0019 are 2 other popular ones, and the P0008. So that being said, this thing's a turd. Unfortunately, there's no easy fix to this. We can try the parts cannon a little bit and replace the variable valve solenoids. Sometimes they can get plugged up and not adjust the timing correctly. We'll start there. I can get all 4 solenoids for around $100, and they're not horrible to replace. We can try replacing the camshaft sensors and the crank sensors, although I kind of doubt those are not working, because you know, they are picking up a signal. They tend to not, either they work or they don't work. But these things are notorious for having timing chain issues, and the timing chains don't get enough lubrication, so they stretch, and you know, it's not an easy repair. It's pretty major surgery on the engine. It's not that it can't be done, and the kit and all the gaskets and all that, and like the water pump, because you're going to have the water pump off, so you're going to do that, and the solenoids, you're going to spend about $500 making it right. And then you're still going to have an engine with 203,000 miles on it. Looking at the Carfax, this thing, it was pretty well taken care of for most of its life. Look, it was going for oil changes every 5,000-6,000 miles, probably based on the the oil interval. So I don't know. As a flip car, this thing is done. I can't put that kind of money into it and flip it. It really, with a salvage rebuilt title, it's only going to be worth about $3,000. I'm into it for almost $1,000 already. There's not a whole lot of room there, especially with body work and the suspension work and now the engine work. So if I'm going to fix this, it's going to be for me to drive. Like I said, I like the idea of this car. It's very well equipped. It's very nice. I'm sure it will ride really well. Because the first thing we have to do is get the suspension fixed to where I can actually drive this thing. That being said, we'll probably take you along as we fix this thing. It's going to be an adventure. The problem is that I don't know when I'm going to have the time to work on it, because the minute it pulls into the garage and I start tearing the engine apart, it's in there till it's done. And that's going to interfere with any other project car that I might pick up to flip, and all that. So that's kind of this in a nutshell. It's a fairly neat car. I like the concept of the car. It's just the engine is worrisome. I thought about maybe taking the whole entire engine out and rebuilding it from the ground up. I still haven't ruled that out. I'd probably have about $1,500 in it by the time you know, all the gasket sets and everything you would put into the machining, the machine shop, and replacing, things like replacing the oil pump and just everything, replacing cam phasers and stuff like that. You'd probably have about $1,500 in it, but you'd have a 0-time engine, 0-mile engine, and that, I guess that might be worth something. But like I said, I think the first thing we're going to do is get this thing up on its feet. We'll get that suspension fixed, and we'll get it driving. We'll see how it drives. I mean, seriously, if it drives with no problem, we might try just changing the oil and running some seafoam through it. That's been known to make this stuff disappear. Sometimes they say just changing the oil will make it be enough to get rid of those codes, that the chain tighteners actually start working better again and tighten the chain, and you don't get the miscorrelation between the crank and the cam. So anyhow, and then I'm sitting here as I'm talking to you, I just noticed the windshield's cracked. Great. So I had another thing. I didn't notice that because it was all covered with snow. But and as you can see, the gray car that I promised you all kinds of videos on is still in the garage. You can see I'm in the midst of painting the bumper. It's almost done. It's sold. I just got to finish it, and the lady from work is buying it, so it'll be out of here hopefully within the next week. I'm doing 2 more things to it. I'm replacing the the CV axles and the lower control arms, because when I got the transmission in it, took it out for a test drive, I did get some clicking when I'm making a hard left turn. I'm just going to go ahead and replace both CV axles, and I did notice a little bit of steering clunk on hard right turns, and I noticed the bushing on the right lower control arm is a little wonky. I noticed that when I was putting it back together. So we're going to get new lower control arms, which is, new bushings, new ball joints, the whole thing, from Detroit Axle, and that'll be good to go. We'll get the bumper all finished up. I've got the car 99% or 90% buffed out. It needs to be polished after that, and then ceramic coated. I'll be working on that this weekend. But as for the outlook, that's where we're kind of at with it. Let's take a look under the hood real quick. Kind of want to check the mass airflow sensor. But you can hear it. This is what puzzles me. Usually when cars have really loose timing chains, enough to throw codes, you can hear them slapping, and all I hear is a little bit of ticking. I don't know. You tell me. A little bit of lifter tick. I've been told that maybe that's normal in these things. I don't know. But anyhow, thought I'd give you a tour during the daylight and kind of get you up to speed. I know I haven't been uploading any content in a while. I did tape a lot of the transmission work, but there were major portions of the transmission work on this gray car that I missed, simply because I would go out to do like one little thing and I'd end up being out there for 3 hours and get a whole lot done. The next thing I know, like, the transmission was actually in and I didn't film it. So I apologize for that. I guarantee you the next transmission job I will take you all along and we'll do a step-by-step instructional video on it, because there aren't very many out there showing how to do it in a one-man garage without a lift. So thanks for tuning in. I'm up to like 64 or 65 subscribers, so thank you all that have subscribed to the channel. Go ahead and click the notification button down there. Click the like button if you liked it, and that helps the videos get seen by more people. Share it on your social media if you're so inclined. And I'm going to put a link to my Instagram. I started doing a lot more stuff on Instagram, and with the transmission, I posted a lot of stuff as I was going along on Instagram. So I'll put a link to my Instagram account in the video description down below, down there. And you can follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty much just using the Instagram for car stuff. So anyhow, thanks for coming along. We'll see you on the next one, and stay safe out there and enjoy winter. I sure am. Later.